Hello, Incredible One. Welcome to the Leverage Your Incredible Factor Business Podcast, the place to be to grow a business that shakes the planet. I'm your host, spiritual business growth coach, Darnyelle J. Harmon. Join me each week for inspiring stories, powerful interviews, and business growth strategy to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. Oh, and one more thing. On this podcast, I'm going to keep it all the way real with you about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the absolutely incredible of small business ownership. And don't worry, everything I have to share will help you to build a business that funds the life you crave. Let's jump into today's episode. You're listening to the Leverage Your Incredible Factor podcast with Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. If this is your first time joining me for the podcast, here's what I'd like for you to know about me. First and foremost, I am the absolute best at combining spiritual principles with business growth strategy to turn entrepreneurs into multiple 6- and 7-figure CEOs. Second, I don't do hustle and grind. I do spirituality and systems. And you might be wondering, what in the devil is an incredible factor? And if so, I invite you to go all the way back to the very first episode of this podcast. It's aptly titled, Exactly What is the Incredible Factor? There's even a cool worksheet that I want you to do that will help you to find yours. Oh, I will likely say some things that will make you laugh, a few things that could make you cry, and definitely make you question if you are ready to leverage your incredible factor. Remember, I'm a coach, and my job is to tell you what you don't want to hear and show you what you don't want to see, all to help you to become who God created you to be. I'm so excited that you're here. This episode is powered by the Next Level Everything Tour, which will be heading out to Washington, D.C., Newark, Delaware, and Atlanta, Georgia this February. To learn more, please visit breakthroughinbusinessevent.com/tour. I am so excited to be with you today. Today's episode is all about goal setting. But this is not your mama's goal setting. Today, we're going to talk about how to set goals for the new year, for the new decade, and how to do it the next level everything way. What I love about coming to a new decade is everyone is so open to seeing what it is that is next and best for them. And what I hope is that as a result of me sharing with you the process that I underwent in order to prepare for this new year and new decade, you might actually be able to see something of value for yourself. Now, if you're a loyal listener, then you already know how I get down. But if you don't, then you need to know that I am a God girl. And I've realized at the turn of the decade that I was truly ready to step into who God called me to be. Yo, can we just pause right there and pour a little something out for the homies who ain't here? Listen to me. And all that I am and all that I've been for so many people, I had a real live come to Jesus moment. And not the kind of come to Jesus moments that you have when you are doing something wrong or you're, acting stank and funky and people have to put you in your place. A come to Jesus moment when you realize that you have been hiding behind what you do. Can I keep it real with you? You see, I used to hide behind my title, business coach. Oh, and don't get it twisted. I'm a bad chick when it comes to helping my clients leverage and scale their businesses. And if you don't believe me, you can go check out the applause page on my website and you'll see exactly what it is that I mean. But it literally just dawned on me. And it wasn't really literal and it didn't just happen. It was happening over time because all year long, people in my life were planting seeds of greatness in me and demonstrating to me or giving me enough that I could handle at the time that I was really on the verge of stepping into my greatness. You see, I'm not a business coach. Business coaching is what I do, but I'm actually so much more than that. And it was over the course of the last year that at least 5 people told me on different occasions. Some of them that I knew, a few of them were my clients. Some of them I had never seen before a day in my life, told me that I was playing small and that I was understated. Ouch. Ouch. Can you imagine being $1 million business owner and someone telling you that you're playing small? Then imagine it finally sinking in that you are indeed playing small. And that for God to get the glory out of your life, you have to go higher. I'm talking about next level, everything higher. Well, that is what the end of 2019 crossing over into 2020 did for me. In fact, it probably started right after my husband and I got back from Dubai. We went to Dubai to celebrate my birthday, my 44th birthday, and our second wedding anniversary. And right after we got back, I started to feel extra tension in my shoulders. And I started to realize that I wasn't really loving what I was creating in my business. You see, I had backslidden in my business. And for those of you who are church folk, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say backslide. But in the event that you happen to be listening and you don't know what backslide means, let me just break it down for you. I was regressing. I was not honoring my brilliance, and I was taking on clients who were not ideal and didn't deserve to be served by me. And I'm not trying to sound ostentatious or like I'm better than, but when you have a skill set and a level of brilliance and you work with people who are not yet ready for that, you actually do both you and them a disservice. And that is what I was doing. And as a result, I was burned out. I was overwhelmed. I was feeling very complacent. And I was out of alignment, if I'm just keeping it real with you. And I remembered, now listen, my company at that point in time, late November, we were over the $750,000 mark in revenue. So we weren't doing shoddy by any stretch of the imagination, but I just wasn't happy. And I was online looking for a job. I hope it's okay that I'm keeping it real with you. And if you know the word of God and you know the chapter of Acts, then you know late in the midnight hour, God can turn it around like he did for Paul and Silas. And late in the midnight hour on November the 30th, God woke me up and he began to just speak to my spirit. And I just remember being so edified, but also being like balled up, like just a puddle of tears as God just showed me, he revealed to me in my spirit very clearly that I was in fact playing small, that I was not fully cognizant of who it is that I really am. Now, I've had tons of people tell me, especially all throughout the year 2019, that I was playing small and that I was so much more than what I was bargaining for and how I was describing myself to people. But after this cataclysmic experience and encounter with God, I was starting to believe it. And I did the work on late in the midnight hour on December 1st, it was now. I did the work to get myself back into alignment so that I could see myself the way that God saw me. And when I did, I realized that I had in fact been playing small. I had been playing small for a long time. That who I am and whose I am and what I was created to do on this planet was so much more than I was actually doing, right? I realized that I was worth more than I was settling for. Can you relate? If you can relate, then I definitely want you to make sure that you reach out to me after you listen to this episode, or leave a comment and or rate the podcast so that I know that this episode is the one that really touched me. But realizing that there's so much more to yourself is really, really powerful. And how awesome is it to realize that as one decade ends and a new one begins? And what I realized at that particular point in time is that I had to be ready. I mean, really ready to step up my game in every way and step in fully so that God would get the glory. Now that all brings me to the purpose of this episode, which is to help you with goal setting. Now, I know it's possible that you've already set your goals for the year. And if you did, I want to invite you to take another look at them. My bet is that they are comfortable goals. They're what you know you can do no matter what. I mean, I've been holding discovery conversations with potential clients since the top of the year, and person after person after person tells me that their goal is it's a goal that they know they can hit with a little bit of stretch. Well, where is the faith in that? How does God get to show up and show out for you if you got it all figured out? I mean, that's not faith at all if you have all the answers. Just like in my own business, I had all the answers, which is how when I finally had this encounter, I realized that I was in fact playing small. So as I invite you to take another look at your goals, because you and I both know that they are comfort goals, not the goals that make your knees knock and your stomach hurt, not the goals that make you cry out, Jesus. Those goals that you have now are not what you're supposed to be doing into 2020. I want you to insert a pearl clutching moment when you realize that you, at the top of the year and decade, are still playing small. But I'm about to hook you up. I'm about to change the game for you. I'm about to introduce you to what I started talking to you about in our first episode of the new season, your next level everything. This is the time of year when lots of people are updating and or creating vision boards. Yes, I said updating. Now, I know you probably from the old school when it comes to vision boards, which means you have glue sticks and poster board and tons of magazines, and you have to start from scratch every single year. Well, we're done with that. We're talking about creating a vision that is substantiated and built on year after year because you're in complete alignment with God and what it is that he has for your life. Now, if you do vision boards, you create them the way that I'm about to teach you, you won't be starting from scratch every year because your vision doesn't change that greatly from year to year, right? So before you grab your scissors and your magazines, let's take a side step because there are at least 3 things that you need to do before you should even start working on your vision board. Number 1, you need to set a tithing goal. Yeah, you heard me right, a tithing goal. One of the things that I decided to do differently in 2020, because I've been playing small in the previous years of my business's experience, is I decided that instead of setting a revenue goal, I wanted to set a goal that would allow me to tithe and sow, right? The Bible says the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So that means it's all God's, right? And I happen to believe and subscribe to what was written in Edwin Gaines' book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. I believe in tithing wherever I get inspiration. So if you inspire me, you could get a tithe from me in addition to, a church or wherever else. I give to causes and support. I like to give 10% of my earnings to the organizations and causes that honor me, that inspire me, that edify me, that help me to be a better person in order to do my work to shape the planet. And so what I realized in years ago, it was actually probably about 3 years ago, I realized that by setting a revenue goal, I was focused on the wrong things and I was still chasing money because all roads led to that revenue goal. And did I hit it or did I not hit it? And so I decided to flip the script this year and I set a tithing goal, the amount that I want to be able to give to the planet. And that number is $250,000. Now, if you listen to the episode of the podcast when I talk about the power of the 10%, I'll highlight it in the show notes for you. Then you already know what tithing is, right? And so if my goal is $250,000 to tithe, then that means my revenue goal must be $2.5 million. And you know what? Something amazing happened by setting it that way. It put God at the forefront. It allowed me to put my focus where my focus should be at all times, because when you seek him first, he will give you the desires of your heart. And so that's the first thing you need to do. I want you to set a tithing goal. Now, I recognize that this may not be something that you have ever done and or considered ever before in your life. I get that. But I want you to just go with me. You're here. You're listening to the Leverage Your Incredible Factor podcast for a reason. You feel drawn to me, called to me in some way, and I would never steer you wrong. I would only put you in a position in order to be able to experience the magnificence that is God. That's all I would ever do, for you to be able to influence every area of your life into abundance, both financially and spiritually. So that's the first thing I want you to do before you start working on your vision board. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to ask God what he sees for you at the next level, your 2020 decade level. Now, I know some of you, the last thing that you do is consult God, but I want you to get to a quiet place. I want you to have journal, because 9 times out of 10, the way that God is going to speak to you is either through his word, the Bible, or through your spirit. And it's easy to capture what you're feeling when you have something to write with. So I highly recommend that you have a journal when you go through this exercise. And I literally want you to ask God, what do you see for me? I love you. I trust you. I honor you. I want to live for you. I want you to be the center part of my entire existence. And as we think about this new decade, this new opportunity to do things right, I want you to be at the forefront, God. So what is it that you see for me at my next level? What does my next level everything look like from your vantage point? And then I want you to wait. I want you to wait until he speaks. He will speak. I literally just did this exercise with my Leverage and Scale Mastermind clients at our client retreat in January, or it is January, and my client retreat a couple weeks ago in Orlando. I gave them an exercise to ask God what he saw for them, and I strongly suggested that they sit and wait until he spoke. And you know what? He spoke to every single one of them. And God is no respecter of persons, right? The principle is that if he can do it for one, he will do it for many. And so I'm going to invite you to get to a quiet space. If you have a prayer closet, that's even better. A space where you know that you won't be interrupted until you hear from God. And as he shares with you what it is that he sees for your next level, I want you to write it down. Because we're going to Habakkuk 2:2 for the third thing that you have to do before you start creating a vision board. And that is to write the vision and to make it plain, right? I love that scripture, right? It says, and then so that when they get it, they will run with it, right? There's an action that needs to be taken once the vision has been set. And my verse that just keeps popping into my spirit is, though it tarry, wait for it. So even as you're seeking God and asking God what it is that he would have you to do as it pertains to your next level and what he sees for you, though it tarry, wait for it, because he will surely speak. And once he does speak and he gives it to you, then what you're going to do is you're going to take that vision and you're going to turn it into power statements. You're going to decree and declare. You're going to speak life, over your business, over your marriage, over your children, over every area of your life. You're going to create those power statements, speaking positive present tense over yourself, because you know that God has your back and there's no way you can fail because he's got you. He already said in his word that he would never leave you and he would never forsake you. And once those three are done, then you can grab a cork board. Yes, no more poster board and glue sticks. That's so third grade. Instead, we're going to get a cork board as big as you want. The one in my office is, I think that's 18 by 24. Actually, it might even be bigger than that. It might be 24 by 36. So as big as you need it to be, and some push pins, some pictures of yourself, and some carefully selected images that represent your vision. You can get them from magazines, or what I like to do is I like to go to Google Images and type in what I'm looking for and then flip through the options that they give me and then print those out in color. That's typically how I do my board. I told you we were setting goals the 2.0 way, right? The 2020 way, didn't I? Now, if you've never done this, it is possible that it may be challenging, but you have to hear what God has to say before you cast a vision so that you can stay in alignment and get everything it is that you're desiring in this next season. This is Goal Setting 2.0, y'all. We are taking it higher, totally higher. And like I said at the top of this episode is powered by the Next Level Everything Tour. So if you happen to be able to get to Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia, or here in Newark, Delaware, then I highly recommend that you do, because this is just the tip of the iceberg of some of the strategies that I'm going to share with you that will allow you to finally get crystal clear and break down what it is that you truly desire so that you can ultimately break out from everything that's keeping you from it so that you can break through to everything that is that you have been praying for. It's what I want for you. It's about next level everything. I told you last week how God dropped those three little words in my spirit in September of last year and how everything has been culminating on that, right? And I can't remember if I mentioned it last week or not. I know I told you about the challenge. We're going to be doing some things different to it, and we'll be rolling it out so that you'll be able to access it if you missed it. It's not quite ready yet, so I'm not going to share the URL with you. But again, you can go to breakthroughinbusinessevent.com/tour if you are interested in joining us on one of the tour stops. It's about 2.0. Everything's got to go higher. Goal setting your goals is higher. And here's what I want you to share with me. I want you to tell me the difference you think that this would be making the way that you set your goals if you actually followed through with it. Now, I know some of you will listen to this podcast and nothing in your life will change because you don't take any actions, right? But I promise you that if you take these actions and go through this process, you will be one step closer to your next level everything. It's what I know. It's what I live. It's what I do. It's a big part of the reason why I've been chosen for this hour to do this work. As I said, I'm not really a business coach. It's what I do, and I'm darn good at it. But who I am is a transformer. People's lives are changed when they come into my space. I used to say when people come into my space, they make more money. But now I say when people come into my space, they change their lives. It takes power. It takes connection. It takes alignment. It takes looking at God differently, communing with God differently, and seeing yourself the way he sees you, right? It's not about envisioning your life the way you think it should be. That's always going to be too small. That's always going to be you playing small. It's about seeing yourself the way God sees you and allowing God to illuminate for you the vision that he has for your life and for your business. Trust me, I know this is crazy, right? Who does this? Who is a business coach that talks about the importance of integrating your spirituality and your relationship and connection with God into everything that you do and using that in order to allow you to go to the next level? Who does that? I do. And I want to thank you for listening. I'm excited about your goal setting 2.0. I know that as you do this work, what it is that you are here to do, who you've been called to serve, and you experiencing that at the next level is well within your reach. I'm excited for you to take the time, follow these steps, and get this work done. And I'll see you in our next episode. Take care. Thank you for joining me for the Leverage Your Incredible Factor Business podcast. I'd really love to help you grow a business that funds the life you crave while doing work that shakes the planet. Get started today by applying for a discovery session with me or a member of my team at darnyelle.com/session. And if you enjoyed our time together, do yourself a favor. Head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Until next time, remember, you do deserve a business that funds the life you crave. Take care.